This is Ninja on Ninja, and basically, I want to cover. Let's see. First off, understand he's looking right at the camera because he's a staged monkey, and this is the whole fucking world. Understand that everyone on stage is a puppet, and everyone who's like me, who is an authentic, like a main tank, someone who's gonna guaranteed take a bullet for his loved one, and he's not gonna fucking, leave a family as a single mother. Someone who's gonna actually be there for their kids. Like, this guy on stage is the opposite of that. And that's kind of what it is. Maybe once upon a time they're legit, but nowadays they're completely sellouts. But anyways, Muhammad Ali gives his stance on the Vietnam War. And the point of this is because Muhammad Ali was great, but he started to get whispered to, and he got fucked up basically. And he was competitive and combative, much like myself, and this is necessary and needed. But nowadays, it gets blacklisted, and you're banned, or you shut up, or cancel culture, or whatever, because I don't like the cut of your jib, basically, as they would say. You're not kissing my ass, you're not sucking my dick, you're not tickling my butthole, you're not saying what I want to hear. So I want to ban you, blacklist you, because I'm in, what's it called? My blue bubble, and you're invading my blue bubble or my red bubble. Like, either one, you're invading my colored bubble, and you're not saying what I want to hear, so therefore, fuck you. Before, it was red, white, and blue. Now it's just red or blue. And that's kind of the rich are trying to expose that to the max to make America topple over through violence, and divided they fall. And that is the idea, basically. And a lot of companies are playing along because they see it as a way for them to get the power. They just don't realize that as they get the power, that means that the whole world sucks because they don't deserve the power. And this is the whole premise behind false alphas, and why I call everybody a gamma and not a beta, but a gamma, because a beta would turn into an alpha if the alpha wasn't there, and all we have left are gammas, and that's basically what we have. Like, him back in the day may have been a beta, right? He may be an alpha, but he's a beta. Muhammad Ali should be an alpha, but he's actually a gamma, actually, and they're gammas because the person that's alpha is the person with the money, and they're part of that world, basically the game. You would never, me no, that would never happen. So anyways, and that's why me and Bernie Sanders don't exist. But you notice, instead of like play, he's like, oh, show's on, and then he immediately turns into the picture of the camera, or
Muhammad,
the character rather.
what do you do these days now? It seems I've sometimes wondered what you're doing.
It's really strange. I'm actually more busy now than I was boxing because at the time I was boxing, I had to go in training for like 3 months before a fight. Yeah. And like immediately after a fight, I was signing for another one, and I was like on the streets for like 3 weeks, and then I was back in training. And I fought as much as 3 and 4 times a year and training 3 months each.
The reason why, by the way, is because they used him. Companies used him to get rich, basically, and is at the cost of him and his character and his sanity and his education. It was at the cost of all that, and he's a monkey. Not because he's black, by the way. Don't be a fucking racist pig, you fucking shithead. It's because he was uneducated. He's dumb, basically. And that's what literally monkeys are compared to today. Humans are animals. Animals are humans, basically, to some point. Like, don't get me wrong, not literally, but like we were once upon a time. Now our we changed enough to the point where it's actually a thing. But the point is, we weren't, and drugs got involved, and it made it seem paramount, like our changes are paramount, but in reality they're actually not. It's just that the drugs made us way more than we're actually supposed to be, and that's why we have people that are really smart, but they have hairy asses, for example, because it's unnatural. Basically, drugs are making us way smarter than we should be, but it's good because you can have flying cars, right? Anyways, but there's evil, and I'm not personally worried about AI or robots killing off humanity. Like for example, um, I don't think the Terminator movie would happen uh, as it was told. What I think is gonna happen is someone's gonna be like, I think we should kill all Mexicans, and all the robots turn to kill all the Mexicans. Not so much that I think this. It's that someone's gonna give the order. I think we should kill half the humans, and the machines are like, you're right. Bam, shoots him in the head, and then no one's there to initiate. Never mind, change my mind because he's dead. You know what I'm saying? But anyways,
fight. I was mostly in camp, but I'm more busy now than I was, more active in the ring. For an example, I was in Pittsburgh yesterday and toured about 3 black high schools in one day, encouraging the youth. A lot of gang wars are going on. They're shooting each other and sniping at each other on the streets. And
the reason why the gang wars and shooting each other and whatnot is because divided they fall.
The principals mentioned that with the things that I have done and sacrifices I have made, I'm about one of the few people that they might listen to. So I went, and they did listen.
The thing is, that's what Muhammad Ali doesn't exist anymore, and they try to ruin him because he was actually a guiding light, and that's why on League of Legends, my character's actual one of my decals is guiding light. Like that's like one of the things that you could choose. I chose it because that's where I was, and that's why I like the League of Legends and the games because I can't be a Michael Jordan anymore, but in video games I can, and so I do, and it's through that I try to lead like Muhammad Ali, for example. But again, the difference is I have intelligence, and they're trying to say no, your intelligence doesn't matter. What you want is IQ. That matters more than what you have. In reality, what I have matters more than IQ. But they want you to believe the opposite because they depend on you to fall for that bullshit. But anyways.
And a couple of the gangs got together and we had a little secret meeting and they shook each other's hand and said they're going to try to stop fighting and shooting. A lot of them are taking dope and a lot of the girls are going into prostitution. And we went to the schools, we talked to the various groups, and we had a good time. And I'm on a college tour also, and my agent, Richard Fulton here in New York, says that look like we're going to be booked for another 2 years in the colleges. And I'm also franchising about 500 restaurants called Champ Burgers. We have 5 of them in the Miami area.
Champ Burgers?
Champ Burgers, right. And we're negotiating on about 10 more buildings in Georgia, and we're coming up
yeah, it's to make money off of your name. Good job.
Here and all over the country. And also, Random House will be coming out soon with my life autobiography. About 4 more months, so I stay pretty busy.
That's pretty good.
And he's very aware. And he, like, what's it called? They try to say, oh, you're going to get hit in the head and lose it all. You can, but you can also be like Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? Greatness can't come from if you have nothing. You could be great and get an empire and to keep your smarts, keep your wits about you.
Is there any how do you stand now with the possibility of going to jail?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just waiting any day now.
Do you think about
And he seems the smiles any day now, any day.
Do you think about that though? Do you ever think what you'll do if you
Well, yes,
go?
you think about it at nights when you're in the bed. You think about, if I went this way, what could have happened if I went this way, and I've figured it all out.
Yeah.
No people gain freedom until some have to die, some lose their wealth, some give up money. And like I would say the white race, when your people first got here, they didn't have these cameras and televisions and jet airplanes and air conditions and Howard Johnsons and Holiday Inns and Americana and Hilton hotels. They had to fight the Indians, watch their daughters raped and scabbed. Took 6 months to go from here to Los Angeles. Now you can do it in 3.5 hours, but nevertheless they kept fighting and cutting down the trees, and they didn't see this, but they made a way for the present whites to rule. And the Japanese in World War II, they had these flights called suicide missions. They knew they would die, but they ran that plane, right? His life meant nothing when it came to the freedom of his daughter, his son, the future of his nation. And I would say, like the astronauts, 3 white astronauts almost got stranded in space, and their wives were waiting, and the children were worried because they could have been out there now, still in orbit.
Yeah.
But for the progress of white America in space, 8 astronauts died on the ground, and 3 almost not got back. But whenever people want to really make progress, some have to sacrifice a lot. And I like to say, white America right now is spending $30 million a day in Asia. Black and white boys are dying unjustly for nothing, just to free somebody else. So why should I worry about going to little old jail to free my poor people who's been catching hell here for 400 years?
That's fair. That's fine. But watch. And for the record, don't blame all white guys. It's not all white guys. Yes, at one point maybe it was white guys that made it, but like John Oliver, for example, he isn't Britain. You know what I'm saying? He came from Britain, but he won't go and suck the king's dick. Basically, I don't see him doing that. Basically, you know what I'm saying? And that's the idea. So don't blame John Oliver just because he is that, and that's kind of what he's doing with the whites, and you'll see what I mean.
And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to put.
Are you asking me for an answer to that?
It's kind of hard to put a black man or any black person in this country in jail, because if you ask the average one, we're already in jail. You know, we've been in jail 400 years.
No, not you guys, but everybody. It's well beyond black at this point. But again, I can show you the world is.
How does the subject change so many times in that long sentence that I'm going to talk for a second now.
So there has to be that, because like Muhammad is a force, but it's his show, and there's that, and that's where the bootlicker comes from, and so forth and so forth and so on and so on, and its authority, and my territory and blah blah blah. And it is the host's territory basically, right? But he is Muhammad Ali, so at the same time, like, and so they both can give, and they gotta be mutual, it's okay, it's fine, it's you talk, I talk, you talk, I talk. And so Muhammad Ali he's getting a bit carried away, but watch.
That I really don't know how that connects with Howard Johnson's and everything, but it's a terrific long harangue that you did. Do you feel bitter toward the entire white race? Do you think there's something about whiteness that is evil?
No, sir. Whatever white people do as far as evil or as far as mistreatment, it's just the nature of the white race to be this way. If we check history,
do you think it might be human nature?
Yes, just human nature to kill. If white people,
human nature,
I watch television. If there's not a movie of white people shooting white people in shootouts and cowboy pictures, they're shooting Indians. If they're not shooting Indians, they shoot Negroes. If they're not doing that, they're shooting reindeers or elephants or killing something. Just got to shoot. The system is built on war.
Now let me ask you this.
Okay, so first off, yes, this is it's called divide they fall. Right? They find some way, and this push back, and that's what enlightenment is, and being awoke is. It's this into this. Oh, the heart. Oh, right. You have to be smart enough, be aware enough to put them together, right? And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, he's blaming everybody. Don't blame everybody. The guy across from you probably wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And to blame him like he would, that kind of puts him in a spot where it's like, okay, you're making me have to be that guy. And that's why I say with Elon Musk, he sold out because he had no choice. And then once he sold out, he's like, okay, and then now he realized I have a choice. I made my empire. I have all these things. I'm like really good. I'm really far ahead. People that know the story, now I'm going to tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of too late, but it was kind of forced, and he had to, and it's kind of weird, but...
Do you think, if it had happened the other way around, for some reason in what's the word, evolution, if the genes and the pigments had happened to work some other way, and if the nation of Africa...
No. Humans in Africa, the same thing. There is no flip, because the flip is, like, to say the white and the black and the black and the white, like, they went that way, and that's why they became black. It's not because the blacks went that way. It's because people went it that way. You see what I'm saying? They went that way and became black. So if Dick and his crew went that way, they would have became the black guys, right?
If the continent of Africa had developed the kind of civilization that ours has.
It wouldn't have.
And is it possible that what I'm trying to say is there something intrinsically... I know this is part of the Muslim point, I assume, the black Muslim point, that there's something intrinsically aggressive about white nature that there isn't about black.
No religious point. What I'm telling you is in history books, in your own books about this. I have a book called 100 Years.
Oh, sure, I know.
So don't say your own books, and that's where I kind of draw the line. Because again, you're bringing Dick into this when he isn't personally involved, basically. And that's what I mean. Also, when they say repercussions or whatever, it's like you weren't necessarily involved in that slavery. Like, your organization wasn't torn apart because of slavery. So why the fuck should they go and fix their shit if you had nothing to do with it? You know what I'm saying? And I understand that bad things happen, but they're good now. So what the fuck is the problem? You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna give you more when you have a good now. Why should we give you more? You know what I'm saying? Like, repercussions came when you were accepted into the bus. Can't you take it as that guy's okay? Turn the other cheek. Like, this is the same thing with like feminism, where a lot of females are like, well, men ruled, and now it's time for women to rule. Women rule, and then they get all fucking like, no, now it's time to settle down. You got your justice, you got your blah blah blah. Now it's time to just kind of chill, hang out, let it be, let bygones be bygones. Stop blaming people, just chill. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not bringing up religion or nothing. This is just a fact that the world knows, you know. But I would say that just the nature, from what I see of darker people, is peace. I say like the Japanese seem to be a peaceful people until
they're not. It's just he's ignorant. He doesn't realize that until the Hun and they're killing each other and there's war, they're probably the most evil people of all people, basically. And now we're seeing the same thing with the Arabs. It's probably driven by America, who goddamn well knows. But the point is, like, you're stupid, no offense, you're ignorant, basically, as far as this goes, and for you to talk like you know, that's the problem. That's why they're giving you the mic, because like, yeah, keep talking, keep giving everybody stupid.
Somebody else came over, dictating and trying to rule them. The Hawaiians, they'd be on the beach doing their little dance. The Indian was building his, whatever, teepee or whatever you call it. The African was somewhere doing his little dance. These people have never tried to go to other planets or enslave other people or take over countries.
That's wrong.
Actually, that isn't
wrong.
True. If you took, for example,
and you hear the audience, and then that's kind of what's happening right now, is the audience clapping and like, yeah, that's true, everybody, and they drop the discussion. And now that we have you here, that's kind of arguing with the woman. Basically, like, I'm wrong, next thing, wrong, I'm next thing, wrong, I'm next thing. Oh, finally, I'm right. Hey, everybody, this is the main focus, the main point. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Metallica.
No, let me just, I don't want to get in an argument with you, but Tahiti, for example, is always used as an example of the paradise that the white man came and destroyed. But if you look into the history of when, I'm an expert because I just read a book about it, Captain Cook, but...
he's being sarcastic, by the way. You can see the anger popping into his forehead. See those veins?
That supposedly peaceful paradise where people did nothing but pluck breadfruit off the trees and make love and had no disease until the white man got there, actually had a number of unpleasant aspects to it, like the fact that they strangled infants at birth to keep the population down, that there were live human sacrifices. So I know that there have been outrageous injustices against the black people in this country, but it doesn't really get us very far to talk about something as if the white man were some sort of intrinsic devil that no
That's
other
the
race
truth.
is.
You are right. What you said was the truth. The thing that you all have done to us is worse than the devil you told us about under the ground.
How would you like it if I were to lead into a commercial now?
Whatever you want to say, but when you say
After
devil,
this message
you're
from
right.
our local stations will return.
And that's the point. Like Muhammad Ali, like, you needed better mentors, you needed better teachers. Basically, instead of trying to sow division, it should have been together. And together means heart. You see that? Like, right? But together, it's, and it's a heart. Cheesy bullshit. But that's, yeah. But yeah, there you go. Anyways, fuck you, bitch.